Hello and welcome to the Future Report. Today is Thursday, May 23rd. We have a couple of interesting topics today and a couple of controversial ones. Let's start with some controversy. It's always fun.
Yeah.
Today we're talking a little bit about Apple and some of the new developments that are happening on the App Store and in iOS. So, iOS 17.5, this was recently reported. It's a new vulnerability that has been reported on a couple of sites like Reddit and Twitter or X, depending on what side of the pond you're from. Let's talk about the source here. So I got this from Tech Radar, and what users are experiencing is a very interesting bug where users' deleted photos are resurfacing on their devices after updating to iOS 17.5.
Yeah.
One user reported photos as old as 2010. And they'll reappear despite being permanently deleted, meaning moved to the recycle bin or the trash can and then emptied out at some point, or just being emptied out automatically by the system. So these pictures have come back despite supposedly being completely deleted. The issue is not new or unique to photos. One user actually posted a screenshot of an iPhone XR showing ancient, long deleted WhatsApp notifications that were long since marked as read or deleted.
Are they like still hosting our deleted pictures somewhere?
That's really been the question. Apparently, there isn't really a known cause to what is actually causing this to happen. There isn't really a known explanation right now, but it is
That would
concerning.
be concerning to me. Yeah, if they just have all of our pictures stored somewhere, because otherwise, how would they just be able to come back?
So I think one of the things that I thought about while I was collecting information for this is that a lot of people don't realize how data really works. Like when you delete something, you're not deleting it, you're unlinking its memory address. So until it's rewritten over or until those bits get changed to something else, that information is still there. So in some of these events, I would imagine that some of these people never actually reset the phones, as in fully wiping over the whole partition, and that data is still there somewhere in the system. And by updating to 17.5, perhaps
deleting a photo should change the bits. It's supposed to wipe them all to zero, though.
Technically, but it's not really how that works. If you, that's why a lot of
you're supposed to be formatting the photo like its own partition of the photo.
Technically, that would be like a deep deletion, but a lot of systems don't actually, especially like Windows computers. If you don't use a specific, if you don't use the right process to delete something and you just shift delete in Windows, let's say, for example, you were giving a hard drive to a friend and you just formatted it and gave it to them without doing anything else to the drive. An experienced data recovery expert could still recover everything that was on that drive as long as it wasn't manually sorted through and overwritten. So this being a bug, maybe it's supposed to do that, but it doesn't. Or people never actually deleted it even though they thought they did. It's not a super common bug, so it might be hard to reproduce because the people who are deleting it correctly will never get this issue.
Yep.
Who knows? But that's the issue with iOS 17.5. So far, not many other bugs have been reported about the update, which is good. The last time we had bugs for one of these, it was the funny bug where if you turned your phone to landscape, half of the phone would turn to landscape and the other half wouldn't. But then the phone would break itself.
Back in the day.
And that one was a funny one. Enough about iOS bugs. The next one is new welcome additions to the iOS App Store. And this is actually slightly older information. Since this information came out, these apps are also available on things like the Apple TV as well. So what we're getting now, new freedom for you guys on Apple. Any of you watching who are on iPhones, iPads, Apple TVs, you can run emulators now. So you can actually have fun on your iOS device.
Wow.
So no, you don't get Fortnite, but you can run emulators. So let's talk about what you get. PPSSPP. I had to say that slow because I would have completely mispronounced that. It's the emulator for iPhone that went live 3 days ago, and it brings PlayStation Portable compatibility and its entire library to iPhone and iPad. And obviously, as more recently, it also works on the Apple TV with a controller, which is great. You get RetroArch, which does actually also have the PPSSPP emulator built into it as well, so you don't have to have both. You could just get RetroArch. That one also supports the NEC. the PC Engine, Nintendo DS, Game Boy Advance, Virtual Boy, Neo Geo, and some others that are not yet complete yet. So lots and lots and lots of different consoles that are supported there in a very large library for you guys to play
So
with.
PPSSPP stands for PlayStation Portable Simulator, suitable for playing portably.
That is the most redundant acronym I've ever seen. However, it explains
That
what it
is
does.
quite strange.
I actually didn't know that. That's really funny.
Yeah, I just looked it up and I wanted to make sure, but
That is what it is. I made sure because I thought it looked weird too, but I've never actually looked into what it stands for. But yeah, I'm personally a huge PSP fan, so when I see that, I was elated. I love that little console.
yeah.
I would, if the battery still existed for them, I would 100% buy it again, but I've had no luck finding one.
Yeah.
So
It's just, yeah, it says that the popular PlayStation Portable emulator, PPSSPP, is now officially available on the iOS App Store.
yep. One of the things that I've noticed that I think is a really good improvement with all of these new changes that have been coming to the Apple ecosystem is that it's funny how a lot of people who wanted the iPhone, iPad, and other subsequent devices to remain locked down were the people who were concerned about security. But I think that it's becoming very apparent as the gates have been unlocked and opened, kind of one after the other, that most people just appreciate it in general. And I don't think it compromises the security because you have to opt in and know what you're doing to even get this stuff. So if you're too scared to do it or don't feel comfortable putting this stuff on your phone for fear of security, don't make your phone insecure. Just don't do it. But I think that it's very good. Overall, net positive for Apple. Got to give them credit where credit is due, because even though this is technically kind of a forcing of Apple's hand from the EU, it's still a net positive for everybody. So love to see it. Otherwise, I think with considering these are just additions to Apple's increasingly more open ecosystem, obviously there's a lot of other things that are available, like alternative app stores for theming. I've seen ones for custom keyboards, backgrounds, layouts. So
good.
More so than just productivity. Now you can really start to take gaming to a more PC-esque or Android-like level on an iPhone. It's pretty cool.
All right, so with that, we've got an investigation into Meta and Instagram, same company, Facebook. It's an investigation looking at the addictive manner of how the algorithm will serve children, like just echo chambers. So like just similar content, things that will make them keep watching. And they're calling it the rabbit hole effect, where minors watching one video will be pushed similar videos and therefore create that habit of like just ingesting like the exact same content. And the TechCrunch has one of these quotes that I pulled up was the commission's officials gave examples of depression content or content that promotes unhealthy body images, which we've been seeing for a long time, as such types of content that could have negative impacts on minors' mental health, which makes sense because we've been seeing that, but it's just in much higher proportions now because it's the short form content and they'll just continue indulging in that content. And yeah, Meta is actually getting sued for this, but they are like counter evaluating, if you could say that, and they're implementing an internal age verification tool that will just decrease that, I guess, the algorithms play on how it affects people below a certain age and obviously the type of content they're receiving. And it's just an internal age verification tool for new users.
So this means that users pre-existing won't be affected, but new users will be.
As far as the article that I saw from the TechCrunch says, it's the new users that are coming on. But something that was interesting that I saw was it's not like a third party. They send, you take a picture of your ID or something like that and you send it somewhere. Or if you don't have one, then you're automatically a minor.
So it's not like Roblox's where they had like external agents for pay, external agents for verification.
Yeah,
you have to go
that type
through
of
one
thing.
of those.
They're doing it
different.
through their own proprietary software and stuff. So I don't know what that means.
I personally see that as a net negative because I don't.
Yeah,
I don't think that Facebook should have that much information about minors.
Yeah, that it should be. I feel like it should be a documented, like, secure third-party organization that takes those.
So based on what you just said about it being new users, then, in your opinion, not like a question where you have to look something up, but just your opinion, do you think this is a save face move?
What do you mean by that? Like them just trying to cover themselves?
They're trying to cover the bases here. Yeah. In your opinion, would you think that that's the case? Because keep in mind, this doesn't fix their platform. As of the time of
writing, it said new users. And myself, I haven't been pushed anything yet for trying to get my age or anything. So whether or not that's going to be something that has to be implemented as per demand,
like retroactively for everybody who's already there.
If that's going to be changed in the future, I don't know, but this is not a good enough solution in my opinion. It needs to be more, we got to act on this because it's affecting people now, not just people in the future.
I'll put my opinion out there. I think that one of the things that has been very much overlooked in our current society and the way we do media is the effect that children experience from any kind of media that's put in front of them. I think it's underplayed how negative of an effect that can have on somebody.
And it doesn't even matter too much what the content is. It's just content in general. Because it can, any type of content in mass quantities can really destroy your mental health.
It's true. I think that the quality of the media itself has more of an effect than people are giving credit for. I think that many people who have young children who are active on the internet, be it in a personal manner like having social media accounts or in personal just ingesting content, I think that people genuinely underplay or just aren't aware of how dangerous that type of content can be. I think one of the things that is part of the first wave of harmful content you can give to a child is just the way that content is so much more cyclical. Like you have to watch so much more of it to get anything out of it.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I feel like, just that as my personal opinion, ingesting content in small or large quantities as a child can really affect your interpersonal relationships with others, because it's pushing your mind into something. This is like, oh, this is easy. I don't have to do anything. I'm just watching. I'm just understanding. So removing that interpersonal connection with people around and removing them from...
They're less invested in life and more invested in
content. And that doesn't mean that
Almost.
Having children be on media or any types of media at some point and having them be on there for like any set time period during the day, that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But having it be in large quantities and separating them from like friends or people or even just their parents or siblings,
or using it as a tool to occupy when there's other things that can be done. I think is one of the pitfalls that modern parenting has kind of fallen into. But not to get into parenting necessarily, but what I was going to say was I think you and I both relate to this because we're of the generation that's just barely old enough to have experienced the concept of reruns, scheduled TV. This is the time that you watch. When you tune back in the TV in 30 minutes after your show is completed, it's not going to be there. You can't go from season 1 to season 8. You watch it when it's available.
There's that, and there's also you find more to do because you just go outside, I guess.
And I think part of it, the schedule helps. I think with that, because I think one of the things for me was once TV went from on a set schedule with reruns on certain days to it's all on
Streaming
demand as
platforms.
soon as you want it. The way that pretty much everybody watched TV changed drastically. I think for the worse. I think it's in a worse capacity.
And that's not just even for kids. It's just for everyone.
It's for everybody, but people don't realize how much more of an effect that might have on someone who's still developing than somebody like an adult. When we can, as an adults, we can come to the conclusion that this is a bad habit. Like when we say, oh, I binged something, that's considered not necessarily a positive thing. Like people say, oh, I ended up binging this, and people go, ugh, like I've been there. Like the show was so good, it's like a guilty kind of thing, like a guilty indulgence, whereas a child might not have any concept of that.
Yeah, so, they just do it, and then it's normal. And then that's just something that happens.
And while that might not be harmful, I think that allowing that to happen at a young age might also contribute to what we're experiencing here, where it becomes harmful because you're so used to just going from you're going down a rabbit hole on a show or something. There's a certain amount that's not healthy. But then if you go from that and then you're on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and you're just going down the rabbit hole of, all right, now I clicked on this video and it saw that I watched the whole thing through. Now it's just pushing me, and that could be like, I don't know, like mukbangs or whatever, like just unhealthy things, and you just see that as normal now. Yeah, that or unrealistic fitness expectations or beauty expectations
and that's what
or relationship expectations.
Body images, like not everybody looks the same. Not everybody looks as good as other people. And that's just pushing that image onto children who are like, oh, why don't I look like that? Or why can't I just feast like this and be fine? What, like it's not good for children's mental health.
Even still, the fact that a lot of the content that's in these rabbit holes isn't even true. Like a lot of these fitness influencers or beauty influencers will make claims that are baseless to serve a product to an audience. And
and
what easier audience is there than a child with dreams and aspirations to do something great?
And then that's kind of getting into the a little bit older stage where like, hey mom, can we get this type of stage?
Or not even people who have the ability to just buy things, but they've been conditioned over time to gravitate towards, I don't know, almost predatory content. I think what you said earlier is true. I don't think that this is the solution that needs to happen. It's a start, and I think it's
the fact that I guess we could look at it at the negative side, just be like, they're doing it just to cover themselves. That there's that view, or there's the view like, all right, this is a start. At least they feel like threatened or something. They're not just gonna leave it alone and be like, well, sue me.
Yeah, I agree with you. What I meant by that wasn't like, I didn't mean that in a negative way.
No, I knew you weren't. I knew you weren't taking.
I was saying like, while it's good that there is a step being taken, like there's measures being like evaluated that are serious and not just being said for the sake of, good publicity.
Yeah.
At least there's moves being made, but I hope that the EU really takes that second stride, that additional step of going, hey, listen, there are people on here who are, being basically used for whatever monetary gain, and you're harming them in return. And for all of those people, there should be some sort of, I don't know, verification or reduction in the.
And as much as I don't really like the concept of age verifications like that much. I don't enjoy that because I don't feel like they have any business knowing how old someone is. But at the same time, if this is actually legitimately harming children, which I have seen up close and personal how it can affect people, I think that steps need to be taken to limit that and not have them go down that rabbit hole, as they say, the rabbit hole effect. I feel like that's not appropriate anymore. It's gotten to a dangerous point with children's mental health.
I think that there also should be more awareness for this. I've been not necessarily like a voice, but I've voiced opinions in the past about the fact that there is a good amount of parents who don't even realize how much a child can see when you just leave them with an iPad.
Yeah, and you can find anything that you want.
Anything. And the worst part is that it's not like you can just find it. It's once you find it once, you just get sucked right into it.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so a different look on sad things. I don't know. I didn't know how to do that transition.
It's all good.
Something we are excited for, like excited to talk about, but not excited about, is Microsoft reportedly readies $16 billion to acquire Valve, also called Steam. So this is not a happy report from us. Rumors have recently surfaced suggesting that Microsoft is considering acquiring Valve for $16 billion.
No. Please no.
I beg.
Please no.
Please.
We've already had to say rest in peace to Halo twice now. We've had to say rest in peace to Metal Gear, Gears of War. They're just Forza isn't in the best place.
They're yoinking every game platform. We can't let this happen.
Genuinely,
Steam, hold up for us.
People don't understand. I have been waiting since I was about 10 for a legitimate Half-Life 3, and if Microsoft buys it, Half-Life 3 will most likely happen, or it'll be terrible, or it'll never happen, and I will be gutted.
Or it'll happen in 6 years.
No, I want Valve to do it. I want Gabe to do it. I don't. Gabe, you already have enough money, please. No, that's not good at all, actually.
That's not looking forward to that.
Well, I will say this then. We are going to go into depth on this topic on our upcoming Tech Horizon podcast. Yep. We haven't done one in a little while. We've just kind of ended up being a lot more busy this month than we anticipated. So that's going to be something upcoming, and this is going to be a key topic in that. Otherwise, definitely stay tuned. Anything else you want to add on that topic?
I think all I have to say is come join us for the Tech Horizon episode, episode 2. And also check out our website. We've got new products coming out soon, hopefully. And if you're looking for a custom computer, we've got you covered there. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.